真実味が増す。たどり着けば名実ともに俺たちは世界一の海賊団だ。世界一。そうさ。そしたら。
In the world of One Piece, there are many characters whose title speaks volumes and bolsters their legends. Gol.D Roger, the king of the pirates, first man to conquer the seas. Monkey D.Garp, the hero of the marines who stepped up during the God Valley incident. Kaido, the strongest creature. When it's one-on-one, Kaido always wins. However, there has always been one character whose infamy and power has always been secured as one of the strongest in the verse, well until recently. Such mystery behind the character, which once served to help his image, is now harming it, as more fans are starting to wonder if he's really that guy. In today's video, I'll be talking about one of the OG characters in One Piece, one of the first characters introduced at the very start and has survived all the way to the current arc. Today we talk about Dracule Mihawk, the world's strongest swordsman. As always, I think the best way to tackle a video of such nature is to talk about his history and character. Then we could go through why people think he's a fraud, and then we could go through my rebuttals. Not much is known about Mihawk's past childhood, or even his early years. We know that he rose to fame 24 years ago at the age of 19, at the start of the Great Age of Pirates. He gained the nickname Marine Hunter, likely from beating several Marines in his pursuit of becoming the strongest. He fought powerful opponents, defeating them until no one could challenge him. He attended the execution of Gol.D Roger, and sometime after this, he joined the ranks of the 7 warlords of the sea. Soon Mihawk would battle someone to this day, he would be known as his greatest rival, Red Hair Shanks. They would often have duels, the results of which are not known, but one fight in particular getting him notoriety, thus earning him the title World's Strongest Swordsman. After Shanks would go on to lose his arm to Luffy, Mihawk ceased seeking him out for duels as he wanted to face Shanks at his strongest. However, they did remain on good terms. Mihawk was responsible for destroying Don Krieg's entire fleet during Don Krieg's failed attempt at entering and conquering the Grand Line. The destruction of this fleet drove the pirate away from the Grand Line and into the East Blue, particularly the Barata. Mihawk shortly caught up with them, where he was challenged by Zoro, who viewed Mihawk as his ultimate obstacle to achieving his dream of being the world's strongest swordsman. Mihawk easily outclassed him, but showed him respect in defeat. Zoro then turned and promised that one day he will defeat Mihawk, and thus giving Zoro further motivation to complete his dream. After Luffy received his first bounty, Mihawk came to Shanks' island to tell him about it. We wouldn't then see him until he answered the summon to attend a meeting at Marijua. This was to discuss who would be replacing Crocodile as a warlord. Then Mihawk would answer the call of the 7 warlords to aid against Whitebeard in the upcoming Marineford War. There he stood alongside the other warlords, Kuma, Doflamingo, Moria, and Boa Hancock. This is the first time you see a glimpse of his true capabilities. Mihawk was one of the first to attack as he wanted to test his strength against Whitebeard. He unleashed an attack referred to as the world's strongest slash against Whitebeard, which was stopped by Josie. There was numerous occasions where Mihawk met Luffy during the war and didn't hold back despite Luffy's connection to Shanks. Luffy dodged several of Mihawk's attacks, with the attacks going on to cut through the frozen tsunami a great distance away. He then went on to slice up Buggy, but due to his fruit, Buggy managed to survive. Luffy had managed to run away from Mihawk, but the swordsman continued the fight, facing up against Vista, one of the Whitebeard pirates. He then reflected on Luffy's ability to gain lots of allies, saying this was his most dangerous strength. He easily beat Das Bones, one of Crocodile's men, but then was engaged in combat by Crocodile. When Shanks arrived at the end of the war, Mihawk immediately left, saying he agreed to fight Whitebeard, but not Shanks. There he returned to his home island, where he encountered Zoro and Perona. Zoro came to the castle begging Mihawk to train him. Mihawk first refused, believing that Zoro couldn't even beat the monkeys. They're called humans, but they're basically monkeys, and told him to get off the island. However, Zoro had beaten all of them. Mihawk was then amused and decided, you know what, fine, I'll train you. After the world government decided to dissolve the 7 warlords, Mihawk found himself under siege by the Marine fleet. He grew excited at first, becoming a wanted criminal. However, sometime later, he was contacted by Crocodile, who offered to team up with him and say that the Marines wouldn't take an organization formed by the two lightly due to Mihawk's past as a Marine hunter. They concluded the same, they wouldn't trust anyone, and Mihawk only agreed because he got tired of being chased around. They formed Cross Guild, which would put bounties on Marines and hand them out to pirates. He was later seen with Crocodile beating up Buggy. This was because Buggy was seen as the leader of the group and therefore got the rank of Yonko. And that's it. As you can see, Mihawk's history is short with only a few appearances within the series, but we can still pick apart and decipher his character. To the fanbase, Mihawk is a mystery. We don't know where he's from, who taught him how to fight. Did he intentionally go after Marines? Did they just come after him? Did he defeat them, earning him his nickname? Oda has only given us small injections of his character, small bits of information that act as pieces that come together to form the Mihawk puzzle. In terms of his character, so far he has shown tendencies and traits that speak towards the warrior he is, a sort of two-side dichotomy that perfectly enlists who Mihawk truly is. The first one being what I call the retired dad. As previously stated, he started his journey at a young age, and by the time the series started, he already conquered his goal and completed his dream. He's the world's strongest swordsman, not a self-claimed title, but one the world recognizes for his merits and one that he feels he has earned. Now he sits at the top doing whatever he wants, whenever he wants, usually by himself. He has no crew, he travels in a small boat with barely room for himself, and usually lives on his own island. Well, except for the time Perona and Zoro lived there. Due to his strength and position, it wasn't coverability, and similar to another character, Shikamaru from Naruto. This dude is the smartest guy in the whole village, but he's lazy as hell. He wants to do whatever he wants, which is usually nothing. Mihawk supposedly has the capacity to do a lot more in the series, but he simply chooses not to, because it's his choice. Even when he was summoned by the Marine, he still chose to do what he wants and stayed only getting involved when it was absolutely necessary. The second side of his character we'll call True Warrior Mihawk, but though he's already accomplished his goal, there's still the urge to fight, to go up against foes he deems worthy, and will give an interesting fight similar to another anime character, Kenpachi from Bleach. This guy loves to fight, but only up against the strongest, even limiting himself in order to prolong the fight. Mihawk loves it, the engagement of two combatants locked in conflict. That's the reason he trained Zoro, because he saw potential for him to become a worthy opponent later down the line. He only engaged with Luffy because Shanks hyped up Luffy's character. One of the few things he did at Marineford was throw attack a Whitebeard, just to test his power. The true fight is everything to Mihawk. The only thing we have to support anything to do with Mihawk is what Oda was generous enough to give us, but this lack of character is a drawback as well as a benefit. In recent times, there are One Piece fans who start to question his legitimacy as a character. If he is really who he said he is, there's only a couple reasons that stand against him. Number 1. Lack of evidence. It's hard to believe in the strength of a person without enough feats to support his claims. Out of 40 canon arcs in the story, he appeared 9 times and only done something physical twice. The first being when he chased Don Krieg's crew and had a fight with pretty early Zoro. Mihawk beat him, but it was enough to show the difference in power between Zoro and Mihawk. But now 39 arcs later, Zoro has become much stronger, to the point where he's able to take on a Yonko commander. We still don't know what the difference between the two is now. The second time would be at Marineford, where the character had a greater showing. He sliced a frozen tsunami in half with little effort. He shot down 2 impaled down guards. He clashed against Vista, a fellow swordsman with remarkable skill apparently, and he even clashed with Crocodile, a fellow warlord, before leaving when Shanks arrived. He displayed his own capabilities in what was the highest stake conflict at the time, but again, there were small instances of combat littered throughout the arc, not enough to paint the whole picture of Mihawk's strength. Number 2. Is he really world's strongest swordsman? Now there's a debate within the fanbase on who is the best swordsman, Shanks or Mihawk. As previously stated, the two were rivals for quite a while before the start of the series, having multiple clashes with each other, but no indication of who the winner was. There was one fight that was supposedly so epic, so grandiose, that it garnered the attention of the pirate world, with warlords, yonkos, and small timers recognizing the strength of the two. But again, we don't know who won the clash. All we know is Mihawk was eager to have a rematch until Shanks sacrificed his arm for Luffy. He now has no interest in fighting Shanks. This has led to the belief that Shanks is the true strongest swordsman, just with only one arm. The world accepts that Shanks isn't at full strength, so Mihawk is given the title by default. The third reason. In recent chapters of One Piece, there was a conversation between Crocodile, Mihawk, and Buggy the Clown. They had formed the group Cross Guild, who put bounties on marines, and while the world thinks Buggy is the leader, hence why he's a Yonko, he got the spotlight by accident, much to the anger of Crocodile and Mihawk. In the conversation, Buggy speaks on his intent to find the One Piece, meaning they would have to cross paths with the other Yonkos. The fanbase lost their minds due to Mihawk's response. Do you really expect us just to go pick fights with red hair, black beard, and straw hats? Was this Mihawk showing fear, refusing to fight them because he was scared to? This was supposed to be the world's strongest swordsman, a former warlord, and he's refusing to fight Blackbeard, Luffy, and Shanks, his former rival? Many people called into question his legitimacy as a heavy hitter if he's this fearful of entering a fight. Now these are valid claims, valid reasons to think Mihawk may be a fraud. However, I feel there are reasonable counter-arguments that may help explain these claims. One, mystery. Yes, while the lack of evidence is cause for concern, I don't think it should be looked at in this way. The lots of anime today, lots of characters are written quite similarly to Mihawk. These characters are only referenced only to appear in the story and be absolutely powerful, important, or both. Hunter x Hunter had Netero, Naruto had Madara, Baki had Yujiro, so on and so forth. Mihawk is just one of these characters. The purpose of writing these characters is to create mystery and intrigue, with her parents' frontman being a moment to where you pay attention. From the Baratie arc to the formation of Cross Guild, these moments are important in the One Piece lore. And if Mihawk only shows up during important moments, does that not speak to his importance as a character, not just by him parent, but him being actively involved? Number 2, world's strongest swordsman. Now, it's in my opinion that Mihawk is definitively the world's strongest swordsman, not Shanks, and this is not due to circumstance, but due to actual merit of achievement. Why do I think this? Well, because of titles. Titles have been made to hold so much importance with the story, with most titles being direct indications of powers and rankings within the world of One Piece, from admirals and captains to warlords to Supernova's worst generations. These titles give a character so much weight and importance, but the one thing that I think everyone knows is that these titles are not permanent. Look at Blackbeard. He went from Supernova to Warlord to Yonko, displaying how much power he's gathered. You can gain an additional name and or have an original one removed. In any case, this change is reflected. When the Warlord system was removed, each member was called former Warlord for the duration of the story, indicating a position they once held. If this is the rule, then why is it Shanks referred to as former world's strongest swordsman? The title associated with him is Yonko, but even Yonkos can have multiple titles at the same time. But there is no former attached to Shanks. I think this is due to my personal belief that Mihawk is the first person to be known as the world's strongest swordsman, that no one before him was uniformly called this, that the fight he and Shanks was so legendary that as a result he was named the strongest. He earned his title. Shanks losing his arm and Mihawk being named the strongest, while a good theory, is not correct. The title is not a globalized, recognized ranking of swordsmen. This is known because of one person, Zoro. From day dot, Zoro dreams of becoming the #1 swordsman. This is more than just having the title, but actually having the strength that comes with the strongest and persevering. If Shanks was the true or former strongest swordsman, why isn't Zoro wanting to fight Shanks? He hasn't shown any interest in fighting Shanks. If this is his true goal, then why not seek someone who is or who has been there before? The third reason. Now we can get to the most recent chink in Mihawk's armor. In a recent chapter, it was made pretty clear that Mihawk wanted nothing to do with Luffy and Shanks. But in a recent translation update of the same chapter, the quote now changes to "Red Hair Shanks, Blackbeard, Straw Hat. You want us to fight them all at once." This changes everything, and now it makes sense why Mihawk wanted to avoid the fight, because who in their right minds wants to challenge at the same time, with one of them being your former rival who you know is near your strength level? And even if the original chapter was correct, it would still make sense as he wouldn't want to fight. Mihawk is someone who enjoys a good one-to-one fight with a powerful person, but ultimately would like to avoid any extra grief if he can manage it. Fighting a Yonko crew just sounds like a hassle. He wants nothing to do with it. Plus, just look at the crew differences. With Shanks, you have a bunch of people who even animals worry about. Blackbeard has a crew filled with powerful devil fruit users, and the Straw Hats have Luffy, who's now awakened, Zoro, who's near Yonko level himself, Sanji, whose body seems indestructible, and Jinbei, a former warlord himself. Now let's look at Cross Guild. You have Buggy, who doesn't even have a body at the moment, Crocodile, Mihawk, and a bunch of minions, who aren't even as strong as Usopp, let alone the Yonkos. It would be ridiculous to do so. At the end of the day, Mihawk's character hasn't really been dug into. He's yet to have his fight with Zoro and any other in the series, but I am confident he is that guy. We just need to be patient and wait for Oda to do his thing, and if One Piece ending soon, it's going to happen sooner or later. That's all I have to say on the issue. These are all my thoughts. This is what I just wanted to say. It's taken me a while to get done it. Unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, I had to wait a little bit. But yeah, this is the video. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, hope I see you in the next one. Peace.